Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. I am so excited to bring to you today my first in a very long time currently inked video. This is a tough practice for me because I would consider myself somebody with a short attention span with all of my pens. I like to reach for different pens throughout the day. I typically use a different pen and ink combo every day in my morning pages and just experiment with how the writing experience is. I typically use black or brown ink in my Hobonichi, and then I will do doodles and little things like that in a variety of notebooks and use different pens. It's definitely a challenging practice for me to stick to a set number of pens. So usually I give myself about 12 or 15, and in every single month I will always be using my black matte Pilot Vanishing Point. And then I just started using my Lamy 2000 as well in my Hobonichi because I typically just use black ink in there, but I'm missing my Pilot Vanishing Point. So I'm really trying to get to know my Lamy 2000, but so far I still prefer the Vanishing Point. So I don't consider that in my currently inked because those are always inked. So let's get into it and I will share with you some of my November favorites. If you enjoy videos about fountain pens and journaling and planning and you would like to be part of my YouTube family, be sure to hit the subscribe button and like this video if you have a good time today. All right, let's head over to the desk. Why don't we get things started with one of my new acquisitions. I did do a dedicated video on my new Pelikan M800 with a fine nib. This is the brown black, and I absolutely love this pen. I've paired it with this Tachia ink, and it's a very deep concentrated ink, so let's just give a little sample here. It's a really rich brown, and the Pelikan M800 is a very wet writer, so this comes out very dark and rich. This is a really nice pairing. Oh, this is a fine nib. Just for reference, that is brilliant brown. It's actually a little bit more red. I think this is a really beautiful match. Here is the ink sample. It does look a little bit lighter over here. This is an Archer and Olive notebook. This is how it looks here on the lighter paper. But this is just an absolute beautiful writer. I'm looking forward to experimenting with this color. So next up is my Esterbrook SD in Nouveau Blue or Blue Nouveau. What prompted me to get it at the Orlando Pen Show was that I took the wax seal class with my friend Vanessa Langton, and we were given the wax seal in this print. And I was like, oh, now I need the pen to match it. Also got the journaler's nib from Gina Salarino. I took it home with a medium nib, and then they sent me the journaler's nib, which I absolutely love. So the ink that I have in here is one of my favorite inks from Iro Shizuku, and this is Sukiyo. This is almost like a little bit of a denim. There's nothing more classic than the Pilot Iro Shizuku bottles. I think they're so beautiful. I'm not really into very light blues, so I like that this is, it just has like a little deeper shade in it, and I really do love it so much. I started this month also using this Honeycomb SD. I had to swap it out because this has an extra fine nib and it is super scratchy. So much so that I couldn't enjoy it at all. So I have a vintage Esterbrook nib and an adapter, so I think I'm going to see if I can put a different nib on this. The extra fine nib was not working for me, so I swapped it out with another special grind. We can look at that next, actually. Okay, so here is the Esterbrook Lilac, and I bought this secondhand as well. It also came with an extra fine nib that I was struggling with a little bit. So when I went to the Orlando Pen Show, Kirk Spear did a Waverly grind on it. This was the official ink of the Orlando Pen Show from Robert Oster. It is the Purple Dreams, and it looks really nice in here. So let me just do a little sample for you. It almost looks like grape soda. I love Robert Oster ink. I really find myself going back to these inks quite often. Here we go. I was trying to make grapes, but this is more just like scribbling. That is my sad attempt at making a bunch of grapes. Isn't this such a pretty combo? What I like about this purple is it's not exactly an exact match on the purple, but then there are small areas where it's a little bit translucent or transparent. And if you look at all the different depths of the acrylic, you can find one that really complements this color. So that's what I love about Esterbrook pens. They're just so beautiful. So those are my two Esterbrooks featured this month. Okay, I just realized I had lotion under my nails. My nails are getting so long. I'm getting them done tomorrow. This is a beautiful pen that I bought at the Monson pop-up that was a response to the cancellation of the Commonwealth Pen Show that's typically held in my area, which I've never been to. I was really sad that it was canceled, but I went there and there was a particular vendor. His name is Mike. I met him in Orlando. He was so kind. He was the first vendor I spoke to in Orlando, and he just gave me so much time, and he was patient with me, talking to me about different vintage pens, which I know very little about. So when I saw him at the Monson pop-up show, I really wanted to buy a pen from him. I was looking at Watermans and Parkers, and then he's like, why don't you just try it and not worry about the brand, which I loved that advice. And he handed me a couple pens, and this was the one I settled on, and I'd never heard of this brand. It's called Senator. You can kind of see it right here. And he said it was a very affordable brand pen. It had this really pretty ink window, which I really appreciated. It's a 14 karat gold nib as far as I know. He called it a fine stub nib. I was so excited to write with it. It is a piston fill. So I thought Oxblood would look so beautiful in here. Diamine is another ink company that I just love. They're just always so consistent. Paintbrush is smaller than the other ones I've been using. This really does look like blood. It's unbelievable. It's one of my favorite red writers, though. I really love it. Also, you can check out the sheening that's going on with that Robert Oster. Just kind of fun. I don't know what happened to my little wave here, but there we go. You get the idea. And I just love so much how this writes. Such a sharp pen. It's small, but when you post it, it's a really nice size. But I would say that it's more of like a pocket pen. Well, if you compare it to the Pro Gear, maybe it's about that size. I believe this is a German-made pen. Isn't it so beautiful? It just writes so nice. I love it. Whoops, that was my fault. So far, all of these combinations have been really so nice. And you can see the line variation here. I don't know that I'll ever put any other ink in there. I mean, I'm sure I will, but the match is so nice. This lighting is making it look a little bit darker. Okay, I'm very excited for this next matchup, so to speak. I decided to write with my Jinhao 159 and my Montblanc 149 this month. The 149 is a carryover from last month. I literally just can't put this pen down. This is about a $7 pen. This retails for over $1,000. I got it at the Orlando Pen Show. I'm very excited about the ink I used here. I ordered this from Cult Pens just recently. It's Vinta ink and it's called Greenwich. Isn't that just beautiful? The shimmer with the purple underneath, that dark green shimmer. This is the bottle. I got this, when did I get this? Oh, when I ordered my TWSBI Indigo. I just really loved this color. I'm gonna have to shake this one up pretty well. I'll use my big brush for this because this ink is so pretty. Whoa, well, that's deep. That is so pretty. Oh, I'm off the page. My apologies. Let's spread this around because I got a lot here in the beginning. Isn't that so pretty? Oh, it's beautiful. We'll see how it dries. But with all these shimmery inks, I think it's really hard to appreciate how beautiful it is in a pen. But we'll see this dry down. So this is a fine nib. It is a steel nib. I really do like my Jinhao 159s. I also have a cream colored one. And I gave away the cinnamon orange one, and I'm giving the lighter green one away as well. But let's give this a try. I mean, I think this is a beautiful writer. I really do. Maybe we'll make a little pine tree here. Maybe we'll be able to see some of the shimmer in there. Not a bunch of line variation here, but it's a smooth writer and it's consistent, which is really the main thing for me. The feed keeps up just fine. I have had a couple issues where my Jinhaos, I don't want to say leak, but they're just not as tight around here. But for what you're paying, this is really a nice pen. This is a cartridge converter where the 149 is a piston fill, but it comes with the cartridge. I wanted to try this out before I bought a 149. I don't know, if you watch some of my older videos, I was like, yeah, this is fine. I don't need a 149. But then I was just intrigued by the 149. But oh my gosh, look at this color. This is such a pretty match. I absolutely love this color. And there is a ton of shimmer and sheen in this ink, and I think that this pen does a really good job keeping up. I will confess, if a pen is not working for me, you're probably not going to see it in my currently inked because I just can't torture myself with a pen that's not working. I think it's going to be hard to top this. That is a fine nib. I believe you can get these pens in a medium nib. I'd love to try it, although that writes really nicely. It's a wet writer, so oh my gosh, that green. So coming up next is my 149. This has an extra fine nib, so keep that in mind. I think it's pretty juicy for an extra fine. It is a piston fill. It does have that split ebonite feed. This nib is just stunning. I don't think I would ever want a single colored nib on a Montblanc 149. I love the bicolored. I don't even know if they come in a single color. And you can see this ink window has like the little sliver lines. The color that I have in here, since I chose it last month, is Tea Time by Sailor. And this is honestly one of my very favorite oranges. Jay bought this for me last year when he was in Japan. This was sold out in the States when Jay bought it, and hindsight's 2020. I wish I had gotten more than one bottle because I do love this ink. We'll do our little test here. It just has like some nice warm brownish undertones. It's just so pretty. Now this does not have any shimmer in it. You'll see. And I'm writing on Lloydstrom paper, if you're curious. And it's pitch black outside, so I'm using all this artificial lighting. Okay, let's give this a shot. Montblanc 149. This is vintage. 1990s, and this is a fine nib. Oh, I'm sorry, it's an extra fine. Yes, isn't this beautiful? I love the color. If you compare the two, this really does pack a punch for the price. and I don't know how I would feel if I paid full price for this. I actually love so much that it's vintage. I've been watching a lot of videos about Montblanc and the 149, and the history of it and the different versions of it. The more modern nibs have a plastic feed, which I'm not as interested in, at least on the 149. If I got another model, maybe. But I am really loving this pen. Like I said, I just keep reaching for it. Now, I don't think this is an excellent pen for super long writing sessions because it is such a large pen. Just to compare it, if you compare it girth-wise to the Esterbrook, and the Esterbrook is a really good size pen for me, much bigger than the Pelikan around. I think it's probably comparable to the Scribo, but the Scribo does have the little intersection that kind of goes in. Anyways, I am in love with this pen. Better not quit my day job. There we go. A little pumpkin with my Montblanc. Both gorgeous. I thought it'd be nice to show them side by side. Here they are. Beautiful. Okay, since we're talking about the big pens, let's talk about this Scribo. Now, the first ink that I had in here was the Laban Aphrodite, which I loved. I've been on the hunt for like the perfect pink brown. The Aphrodite was really pretty. It's pulling a little bit more of like a rust color here. But that, if you just look at the writing, was a really nice matchup. This type of a pink just doesn't work. This is kind of an interesting pink. So what I have in it right now is actually not pink at all. It's called the Mizutama Faded Orange. So this was a little ink pack that I bought when I was in Japan. It reminds me of Cafe Crema, actually, by Robert Oster. It's really pretty. I'm kind of forever on a hunt to find the perfect color to go in here. But when you see it here in my Hobonichi, I think it looks really nice, the Scribo Feel. That paper's a little bit lighter than this. This is also a fine flex. I am currently thinking about just a medium nib. I am not good at flexing this, so maybe I'll try to flex it a little, but I'm probably just going to show you what it looks like as a fine nib. This is the Scribo Feel. Madalena. Fine. It feels a little scratchy when I push down. Again, I like just using it straight. And when I ordered this, they didn't have a regular nib. I had to get the flex nib, and I really wanted this color. So I'm not too keen on the flex nib, but it writes beautifully just as a fine nib. So if I really don't have to apply too much pressure, and you can see how fine that line is. And then if you want to flex it, you can. And then, of course, going this way. Maybe we'll do a little teddy bear. I really do like this color. This has some nice sheening to it. Not necessarily a perfect match, but I do love the way the writing looks with the pink. Let me know what you think, or let me know if you have a brown pink that you really like. This is a piston fill. So that's my Scribo Feel. I love it. All right, next up is my beautiful Leonardo Momentozero Grande in sand. This has a 14 karat gold medium nib and the rhodium plating. I love, again, that Leonardo pens have the ebonite feed. This has a really interesting feed, I think. And these just write so beautifully. I think that Leonardo pens are really underrated. And I have this paired with the 5th anniversary Sailor Shikiori. And this looks green when it goes down, and then it dries a little on the brown side. Almost looks very olivey when it first goes down. I like just getting a lot on there so you can see how it dries. It's so pretty. I love playing with the ink. It's one of my favorite things. Leonardo. I just realized that I have not written the ink down for any of these, so I will go back and we will write the ink in for everything. Okay, moving on to this beautiful Sailor Pro Gear. This is the first Pro Gear that I own. There's no going back after this. I don't know that I'll ever buy another Pro Gear Slim. This is just beautiful. This is from Yoseka Stationery. This is the home pen. This is the third in their little trilogy. I also have the Yoseka Refresh in a broad nib and the Pro Gear Slim. And in here, I have Sailor Shikiori Subirakushi. I bought this ink in cartridge form, so I'm just going to do like a little splashing here. We'll see how this goes. Whoa. And we'll see if I can kind of move this along and see how it looks. Lumpy, what are you into, young man? Oh, I clearly had some water on this. Okay. Wow, see, it's really interesting to see it in a swatch like that. It's much darker than I thought. Okay, so we'll see how that dries. I'm going to pull it down here, and I have a cheat sheet with the correct spelling. So the finial is olive green. I was kind of going for the olive. I had a different color in here. Oh, I had Diamine Cocoa Shimmer, which is really beautiful, but it really dried up. This is an expensive pen, and I don't think that I want to use shimmer ink in here. This ink is going well. And also, this is a medium nib, which is great because most of the Pro Gear Slims come in a medium fine. That's why I got the Refresh in a broad and this in a medium. So this is, whoops. Sailor, sorry. Honestly, this is one of the most beautiful nibs I own. This is a real juicy nib. Feels like more like a Western nib, but it has that Sailor feedback that you can probably hear when I'm writing. This is a medium 21 karat gold nib. Sailor. Another Shikiori. Subirkushi. Okay. It's almost like a grayish green. Not sure what I'm making here. Making a mess is what I'm making. That is one funky vine on my flower. I don't know that that's my favorite color for in here. When I see it out like that, I feel like I have a lot of options. I'd love to do like a true olive. The only olive ink that I have is from Faber-Castell, and it is a cartridge, but I think that's what I'd like. I have Salamander from Diamine, but it's also this like darker color. So I think I need to find a true olive. I think I would like that. So I've talked a little bit about how I want to like TWSBIs more. And so I decided to order two really beautiful ones. I had the Eco with the white rose gold. It was actually one of my very first fountain pens, and I cannot find it anywhere. I then bought the Diamond 580 with a stub nib, and I really do love this, but it's not like an everyday writer for me with the stub. And then I got two secondhand, one leaked and one is an extra fine nib. I wanted to just start fresh with TWSBI and order medium nibs, which is my preferred nib. My white rose gold was in a fine nib. So I ordered the smoke with the rose gold and the indigo blue with the bronze trim. And I think these are both so stunning. Today we're going to talk about the indigo. I originally ordered two crazy shimmer inks. I'm shaking these. So when I did my order at Cult Pens, my idea was that I was going to do this Robert Oster Schwartz Rose with my smoke pen with that cool shimmer in there. And then for my indigo, I was going to do this Blue Velvet Storm. And I have to say, they were a really great match. When I put this ink in the smoke pen, it literally was like cement in my journal. I tend to use like different colored inks every day for my morning pages, and that gives me a good indication of how I'm doing with an ink. Here it is. So this is the smoke. And by the time I got halfway down the page, it literally just stopped writing. So this was the TWSBI with rose gold trim. See by here, it's like writing nothing. And so then I added some other color. Just performed some surgery. The shimmer was way too much. I emptied out the shimmer back into the bottle, didn't clean out the pen. There was still lots of shimmer left. Then I filled this with the Sakura pink ink from Japan. This combo is really nice. Too much glitter is just too much. Love this. Mixing inks is fun, is what I wrote here. So I literally just took the piston and twisted everything out, and whatever was left in there, I just left it in, and then I added the other ink, and look at how much shimmer was still left in here. Then I did the same exact thing with the indigo, because you can see the shimmer, how it's settling right here. I just twisted out all the shimmer, and I brought in this Kujaku combo. So you're not going to be able to really see this in real time, but I will show you what the Blue Velvet Storm looks like. But just keep in mind that when I'm writing, I mixed it with this. And I really like the way it came out, and it was crazy to me how much shimmer was left in the pen. I would use this ink very carefully. I mean, I only had a medium nib. Maybe it would be better with a broad nib, but I would not put this shimmy and shake ink into any pens that are too valuable. But it really is pretty to look at. And I'm happy to report that I am really enjoying my TWSBI. And I think that the Sukio kind of lightened it up because it's more of like a turquoisey blue. So I'm just going to shake this up a bit. And you'll see that shimmer coming to life. TWSBI Eco. A little fishy. So I really am enjoying my TWSBI. I'm happy that I got a medium nib. I'm happy that I didn't buy another one secondhand. I've had mostly good luck, well, pretty much good luck with the secondhand pens that I have bought. But in the case of TWSBIs, I just wanted to start fresh. I really love this blue. And I think once I do find my my white one, this will be a nice pairing. I really like the special trims. They're a little bit more money, but I think they're worth it. And boy, you can see all that shake and shimmy in this Robert Oster ink. But like I said, I would not recommend putting this directly into your pen and not cutting it with anything else. Pause to order salads for dinner because clearly I'm not cooking because I'm filming today. Okay, last up is a pen I haven't inked yet, so we're going to ink it together. And I'm going to use another one of these inks from Sailor, and these are called Sailor Mitsutama. This particular one that I'm using is called Dark Beige, and I think it will look pretty good in here. I love Yule Log in here. I've used Cocoa Shimmer in here. I was just thinking it might be nice to use a flat color. I don't think I've ever used a non-shimmering ink in this Banu. This is a fine nib. As I always say, this was the first pen that I saw, and I said, I have to have that pen. It was like the very first pen that I had that feeling, like had to have it. I've had that feeling quite a few times now. We are going to ink this up, but we will also give a little sample here on the page. And I do like how you can see how it looks on my little color samples here, and then how it looks on the Leuchtturm paper. Kind of winging this one. And the lumpy is, oh, I'm not gonna like this. I don't think I'm gonna like this. Why does this look greenish gray? This looks like mud. It does not look like that. Oh no. I keep putting more like it's gonna make a difference. I have to commit to it now. We'll see. Let's see if we can salvage this. This looks very different than this, and I thought it might work, but let's just see. This is just bad overall. This is why I do things ahead of time. This is a fine nib. Oh my gosh, this is bad. This is Sailor Mizutama beige, dark beige. Okay, I am probably going to clean this out. I hate it. Yeah, that's just, it's not doing anything for me. It's too light. It doesn't go with the pen. It does not bring me joy. I'm probably going to clean that out as soon as this video is over. But let's end on a high note, shall we? Three Kings is one of the most underrated colors, I think, from Inkvent 2022. I think it is this like golden, honey, legible, yellowish color. And I have it in one of my sailors, and I thought it was a really nice fall color. Really reminds me of falling leaves. I think it's beautiful. So when I was going for my November palette, I certainly had these types of colors in mind. This was my very first 14 karat gold nib. It is Sailor Shikiori Pro Gear Slim. It actually has like little sparkles in it. This pen I've had for over a year and it grows on me. When I first started using it, I put a lot of shimmer inks in here. I had a really hard time getting it to write in the beginning. I was just new to the hobby. I was very frustrated. So I feel like we've grown up together. So this is Sailor Shikiori. And I think this color is just beautiful in here. Right, this is called Autumn Moon. Isn't this such a nice combination? I love it so much. It's just fantastic. And this is Diamine. This was a sure thing. I knew this was going to work. Three Kings. You can tell I'm getting sloppy now. And this is from Inkvent 2022. And this is a medium fine 14 karat gold nib. Isn't that pretty? See, I really think that this nib has softened over the past year, and I feel like the ink flows better and better the more that I use this pen. Okay, so what do we think? Besides my failed Benu iced caramel latte, now it almost looks like there's some like bluish sheen in there. This is my palette. I don't want to, hold on. I don't want the ink to go. And this. And this. So there is the Pelikan Brown and the Esterbrook Esty. The Esterbrook Esty with the lilac. And my little Senator pen, which I love. Those are those pairings. We have the Jinhao 159. The Montblanc 149. The Scribo Feel. This was like my big pen page. And the sand. See how nice that looks now that it's dried? I think it's a nice combo there. Sailor Pro Gear Yoseka. The indigo blue. That's the worst. And then the Autumn Moon. What do we think? I hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully these will get faster and a little bit smoother as I go along. So I'm editing my video and realized I did not film an outro. So this is me saying thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it was so long. I want to get more into my rhythm with my currently inked So thank you so much if you are still here. I really appreciate it. And I will be back soon with a new video. Thanks, everybody. Bye.